Cassandra Harriman, 22 years old, only a few years older than the student she was going to be teaching, had a look about her that had the other teachers at West Roosevelt High School, a decaying glass and brick fortress in the middle of the city's declining west side, placing bets how many days into the school year she would have a nervous breakdown. 3 weeks, 4 tops, remarked Hugh Sloan, a veteran teacher in the math department. And the poor girl is standing in front of remedial English, bawling and pulling her hair out. "What color is that, anyway?" remarked Margot Pennyman, who taught honors English courses and coached debate. "It's certainly not found in nature." "Not outside Lovecraft, anyhow," remarked Sloan breezily. Later that afternoon, Cassandra approached Margot. This was in the hallway, between periods 6 and 7. And even though Margot was positive Cassandra had not been in the lounge when they were shit-talking her, it seemed as if she had heard every word. Cassandra did not seem angry or defensive. She just smiled and said, "I know this is going to surprise you, but I can be a pretty tough cookie." The first few weeks in Cassandra's freshman remedial English class were exactly as hellish as everybody had anticipated. Even Cassandra, who had been prepared, she thought, for the worst, was in for a rude awakening. On day 2, Darius Jackson, a 17-year-old freshman, barged into her classroom and physically dragged Quincy Q. Dupree, a popular and smooth-talking but very scrawny 14-year-old, out into the hallway and started beating the fuck out of him over a beef the two boys' cousins at different schools had developed over Twitter posts, comparing Chief Keef to NBA Youngboy. By the time security arrived, Darius had beaten Q senseless, and Q missed the next week of school, and when he returned, he was still missing 3 teeth, and his left eye was still swollen. Cassandra came in every day and tried to do her job. Despite Cassandra's neon purple hair and her love for bands, Proto Martyr, Cloud Nothings, Beach Slang, whose names alone would have made Margot giggle diversively, the two ended up friends. They spent their lunch periods talking about Pynchon novels and Hitchcock films and comparing notes on their classes. A partial list of issues Cassandra had dealt with included Dontrell Lewis standing up in the middle of a lecture on diagramming sentences to yell out several verses of Tupac's Bomb First. To her great credit, Cassandra saved the day by remembering a YouTube clip where Pac gave a surprisingly technical and lucid breakdown of his own complex technique to a DA who had accused him of just saying whatever bad words he thought up. In the same week, Samar Muhammad and Saladin Mur threw punches at each other because Samar had gotten sucked off by Saladin's ex-girlfriend after a basketball game the night before. Chelsea Martinez stood on her desk and attempted to perform a striptease, presumably under the influence of some combination of extra-strength Mucinex and a bunch of triple Cs. Although Margot was constantly ready to be a shoulder to cry on and offer advice, Cassandra remained cool as a cucumber. Maybe the young lady really had her shit together, Margot thought. Desperate to try to integrate more hands-on learning techniques in English classes, Cassandra had the students try their hands at making old-time Victorian hair jewelry, the kinds of lockets and rings Victorians used to make to mourn their beloved who passed on. Cassandra had each student write a small eulogy for themselves, and use pieces of their own hair to make rings, or put in lockets to be handed in. Even Cassandra was surprised by how seriously the students took the assignment, and by the quality of both the writing and the craftsmanship. Indeed, that particular class had proven to be transformative. Only one student, a 6'7" 15-year-old named Tyrell, never seemed to show any improvement. In fact, a week later, Tyrell was expelled for beating another student, a Hispanic kid with a slight lisp, unconscious for pronouncing his name as if it was Tyrell instead of Tyrell. Margot and the other teachers could not get over the way the rest of the class sat in rapt attention, as if transfixed, while Cassandra went over their lessons. For 50 minutes each school day, even the antsiest, mouthiest, most obnoxious kids in school just sat like perfect citizens, basking in Cassandra's lectures. Over winter break, on New Year's Eve, Cassandra joined Margot and her husband at their New Year's Eve party. And Margot made it a point to tell all their friends, teachers, carpenters, stockbrokers, all of them, what a sorceress Cassandra had proven to be. Margot even raised her glass and toasted Cassandra. "One tough cookie," she said, as their friends swilled champagne and the snow fell lazily outside. Later that night, Cassandra went into the back room of the apartment she rented, the room no one was ever allowed in, not even steady boyfriends. She cheerfully, and she thought very generously, began to untie the small and eerily intricate voodoo dolls she had constructed of her most troubling students, and then bound at the wrist, ankles, and above sewn shut at the mouths, using the strands of their own hair they had used for the jewelry. Next semester, she'd do it even earlier in the semester. She sighed a little sadly, though, as she took dolls she had made for Tyrell and Darius. She felt a little bad for Tyrell, but he was dangerous and would almost certainly hurt even more people even worse. But at the thought of what was about to happen to Darius, she allowed herself to grin. He was a bully, and she quite liked Q. She took a pin that had belonged to her grandmother, pricked her own left thumb, and then plunged the bloody pin into one doll, then the other, muttering a curse each time. In two separate parts of the city, at that very moment, gunshots rang out, and bodies hit the pavement. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below, and tell me what you thought of this narration. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for updates, and if you'd like to get early videos, shoutouts, and much more, I'd appreciate it if you check out my Patreon page. It's a place where you can help support my channel while getting awesome rewards in the process, and every pledge helps out a ton, no matter the size. So if you'd like to see all the rewards I offer and consider becoming a patron, it'd mean a ton to me if you'd click the link in the description and just check it out. And don't forget to show some love to the amazingly talented authors who make these narrations possible. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers.